This perk back with another video, and I just got done watching the final episode of Stranger Things season 3, and man, we have a lot to talk about. This is going to be a very lengthy video, so what I'm gonna need y'all to do is hit that like button, hit that sub button if you're new, and let me know how you felt about this season finale if you've seen it, and also follow me on Twitter at PerkMinded. So let's get right into this review. So, Hopper and everybody is headed to the mall to meet up with all the kids because that's where, everything's at right now. Back at the mall, they're trying to help 11 get this thing out of her leg because it's really pretty much killing her. And she ends up doing it herself right in time for, Hopper and all them to show up. And really dope emotional stuff here. This was an epic ass episode where you have the kids, everybody, coming together for the first time in a while, and they come up with this plan. Well, pretty much Dusty comes up with this plan for Hopper to do, to show him the way how to end all this, to destroy the machines and destroy the key and everything, pretty much save the damn world. And we get this nice little sit down, with 11 and Hopper and them kind of talking. I just really love the chemistry these two have. That you really get that sense of that father-daughter type of relationship. But he also talks to Mike and says, pretty much squashes everything between them. They try to hop in this car to dip, but the brake line or something like that is fucked up in it, and Billy's sitting out there pretty much stalking them like a hawk. And this shit was terrifying but epic at the same time because he didn't know what he was going to be doing, while the adults, Hopper, Joyce, and Hopper does some amazing things in this episode, and it's just, man, so powerful. But I'll get to that way later in this video. We got the other group, Dustin and them. They have to go set up the tower to communicate with them underground, while Elle is still trying to figure out what's going on with her. She's trying to help them move this car so they can get this brake line or whatever out of the car, and it just doesn't seem to be working. But Hopper and them are able to get all the way to where Dustin and Moore were at in the air ducts, so now he can navigate them through to where they need to be. Meanwhile, we get a scene where 11 is kind of testing out her powers and just wondering why they're not really working, but her nose is bleeding still, which is interesting. I want to see what that's going to affect 11 in season 4. But they certainly get interrupted by the monster that's been chasing them, mostly looking for 11 to pretty much kill her. But before we get to that, the Terminator dude, gets down to the basement and he sees all the dead bodies that Hopper pretty much killed, and he's on the rampage to look for him. But then we get this nice little sit down and back and forth with Joyce and Hopper, and I really love these two, man. It's such a fucking shame, but these two got closer over the seasons, and it's dope that you see Joyce's character actually asking him out on a date, and that was really cool. But I'll get back to that very shortly. Now what ends up happening is now there's a huge ass blackout. There's some people that are still stuck in the mall, like 11, Mike, and Max. Also Will, his brother Jonathan, Nancy, and Lucas are still stuck in the mall. They're trying to escape or get out of there before they pretty much get killed. Meanwhile, we got Hopper's homeboy getting to where he needs to be to shut off everything, but they run into an issue with the security code and it's the wrong number, and things start to go really left once that happens. Like, you have Nancy over here just shooting at Billy in the way, like, about to get fucking railed, but thank God that, you know, Steve comes in clutch and saves her life from getting completely crushed. Which I have to say, Nancy is really stupid for even trying to do that. But we go to Utah, where we're introduced to Susie, the one that Dustin was talking about. And this is, I'm saying this shit gets weird, but it's altogether is fucking phenomenal. And this literally turns into like a musical for a few minutes. And I don't know how I feel about that, but it's just everybody's reaction to that shit was priceless on the show. But then it just ramps it up from there. You know, Joyce and Hopper finally get down to where they need to put the 2 keys into destroying the whole entire, you know, machine down there. While, you know, Max and Mike and 11 are running away from Billy. Max thinks she can talk some sense into it, Billy, but Billy ends up just punching, like slapping shit out of her, knocking her out the way, fucking up with Mike, and taking 11, like smashing her face into some, like, into the wall, which was pretty damn crazy. I was not expecting that. And he's getting ready to feed her to this monster, but, you know, shout out to Lucas for coming up with his plan B with the fireworks. And they ended up using the fireworks to kind of use as a distraction to give them some and it was kind of it kind of helped pretty much. But, you know, you finally get this face down with Terminator Man and Hopper, and they have an epic little slugfest. And man, the way that ended was really dope. I really enjoyed that part of the episode, because now it's all up to Joyce to pretty much turn both keys, but, you know, without the help of Hopper, because it's all in her hands. Meanwhile, you know, you got Will laid the fuck out, kind of almost unconscious, and 11 was almost about to die right here, but she was able to talk some sense into Billy by bringing up some memories, and, you know, that ends up leading to Billy kind of getting his little redemption and sacrificing himself. And this is where they started to really crush me with this, like, emotionally. And don't get me wrong, Billy went out like a G, man. He went out like a G. You know, and Max's reaction was so fucking devastating. And this picture is dope right here, because, you know, for the whole season, Max has always had 11's back. Now it's the other way around. It's just everything comes full circle. And then this hit me right here, where Hopper makes the ultimate sacrifice, because, you know, he's pretty much stuck in a jam where he's at, and Joyce has no other option but to go ahead with it. And man, that shit hit me right in the feels. I'm not even lying to you, that shit really hit me in the feels. Then the military just shows up last minute, and I feel like we're gonna see more of the military going into season 4, because I feel like they're up to something also. But then this really crushed me right here, where you get Joyce reuniting with Will, and you're happy, and then you see Joyce look over, and she's looking at 11, and 11's just wondering, where's Hopper? Like, it's just in her face, and you could just see the pain in her face, where, you know, you don't even have to speak no words. And that shit ripped my fucking heart out, I'm not even gonna lie. But, you know, we get a 3-month time skip, and It starts off with this tabloid show or something like that. It's like TMZ, I guess. That's what it looks like, kind of. And they bring up a lot about the past, like shit that they talked about in the first season. So it'd be interesting to see what they're gonna do for next season, if this is gonna play a part. But anyways, we get a scene with Steve trying to get a job at this video shop, and he's really embracing his nerd side even more. But people that are in nerd culture can tell that you're an outsider and whatnot. And Robin has this connection to this store clerk. I'm forgetting his name, but it's really interesting stuff. And I called it, man. I'm telling you, Robin and Steve were gonna hook up by season 4. I'm calling it right now. But we head over to Will's house where they're getting ready to move, and Will throws his Dungeons and Dragons into the donation box, and Will's kind of surprised. And that's the thing about this whole season, was about them growing up. As they get older, they gotta mature, and I really like that tone that they gave off. And it's gonna be interesting to see what they do in the future, especially with Nancy and Jonathan. Maybe they come back. Maybe they come back and Nancy is pregnant, or is about to have a kid. I could see that happening. Like, they end up getting pregnant. They end up doing something with that storyline, because there's a lot of avenues you can go with their story. Even though I still prefer Steve and Robin's interactions. But then we get to 11, and we find out that Joyce is going to pretty much take custody of 11, which is really interesting. I really want to see how that is going to play out in the future. 11's having this issue getting this teddy bear, and Will comes in and helps her and says, "Don't worry, you'll get your powers back," and whatnot. And this kind of helps cheer 11 up, because she can't really use her powers, but she reminds Mike of something that he was trying to say in a recent episode. But she pretty much tells him that she loves him too, and I thought that scene was amazing. Joyce finds this letter that Hopper wrote to kind of lay down the laws between 11 and Mike, which was kind of funny in the beginning, but it's just so heartbreaking now. Like, when she's reading this letter, they literally got me in my feels, and then they just kept hitting you with them daggers, man. You see the whole gang pretty much saying their goodbyes because Will's moving, and it's a really sad but happy moment, because you see our characters from the first season and seeing where they're at now and seeing how much they've grown. And I wonder how this is going to affect them all going into the next season, because they're going to be much older, and who knows what's going to happen. There is definitely more story to tell in this world. I don't know how many more seasons they have. I really feel bad for Max, and I wonder how that's going to really affect her, losing her brother and not able to squash things between them, really. This was just a heartbreaking but happy ending. Sad, but just man, really, this was a really good episode. And we see Dustin giving his Dungeons and Dragons to Lucas's sister, Erica. So it's kind of just like passing the torch, and just this letter just wrecked me. But this whole entire season has been really good, and I was kind of worried with it being 8 episodes, but they were able to pull off something really dope with this. And stay tuned, because they have like an after credit scene, and the Russians definitely have a way bigger play into this whole entire series. It looks like they're going to keep going with that Russian storyline. But overall, man, I was just blown away by this whole entire season, especially this season finale. I wonder what you guys have to say in the comments below. I know this has been a long ass video. I'm fucking winded, but you know, till the next video, I'm gonna have to check y'all out later. Peace.
When I was young, I thought that success was all I needed. That's what was gonna bring the happiness. Buying my mom a house, being the fame, the accolades, having people say, yo, you are the best in the game. I thought those would be the things that would bring happiness. And then when those things came, the happiness wasn't there. And I realized why that was. There was such an attempt to achieve these things and to keep going that you lose sight of the people and the blessings that you have around.